Welcome back to Core Motivations Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Connolly. I'm a certified Enneagram coach and a Simbas marriage coach. Really glad that you're here to spend some time together. How was everyone's 4th of July? Well, our neighborhood seemed to have a lot of fun. Lots of pretty noisy, sparkly things in the sky and a plenty of loud music. We didn't do too much, pretty low key over here. We have a few pets, which of course need our assistance. We sat around with classical music and kept it quiet and all the things for them. Perhaps some of you can relate to this. Maybe you're wondering what's in store for us today. So glad you asked. Can I just say, I love your inquisitive minds. Also, thanks for all the comments and the questions on all the platforms. Keep them coming. With that, I was thinking, why not take the opportunity to chat a little about things you may have heard about the Enneagram, some true, and well, some not. So, how about we make sense of the myths and debunk those by sharing the reality? So, what is the Enneagram truth versus myth? The Enneagram is often dismissed as just another personality test, but that misses what it really offers. You see, at its core, it's a dynamic framework for understanding the motivations, defense patterns, and growth paths that, of course, shape the way we think, feel, and behave. And additionally, it is the why we do what we do. By clearing up some of the most common myths about what the Enneagram is and what it isn't, we can better appreciate its value as a practical tool for awareness and personal growth. And we've been on that journey from the very beginning. This, of course, is, as you know, something that I've expressed that the Enneagram, it's a tool. Remember making our toolboxes? And what it does is that it gets us to the core while we are on our awareness and learning journey, which helps us, of course, to discover ways to seek self care and self love, which I believe is a very difficult thing to do as we navigate this, I don't know, this crazy life that we're all a part of. So, in turn, creating those healthy patterns and rhythms within your daily life. Well, shall we? Let's get into it. Today, I have 8 myths and the reality of the Enneagram. Starting with myth 1. Enneagram tests can tell you your type. The myth being, take an online quiz and you'll discover your Enneagram type once and for all. Where the reality is, while some Enneagram assessments are thoughtfully designed, even the best ones are only about 70% accurate. That's because most tests measure observable behaviors and personality traits, not the deeper, often unconscious motivations that define your true Enneagram type, not the final answer. It can help narrow your possibilities to 3 to 5 likely types. But discover your core type requires a deeper reflection and exploration. So if you haven't actually taken the Enneagram assessment, everything is done in percentages. So it gives your top 2 percentages, the ones that you scored higher based on how you answered the questions. And then it goes down from there of the most likely of your type. But again, having a deeper exploration of those types really helps you fine tune that. Okay. Myth two. The myth: your Enneagram type can change as you get older or even from day to day, depending on how you're feeling. But here's the reality. According to the Enneagram model, which we've spent some time talking about that, your type remains consistent throughout your life. It is generally understood to take shape in early childhood and reflects your deepest motivations, fears, and desires. So, what does change is how these motivations are expressed. As you grow, mature, and encounter different life experiences, your behavior evolves and you may draw on the strengths of different wings or move along the Enneagram's growth and stress path, which we have also talked in previous episodes. But the core motivation that drives your personality, it remains the same. Myth three: the Enneagram is just another personality test. Basically the same as a personality assessment like Myers and Briggs. Maybe you've heard of that, or the Big Five. I'm sure there's more. To answer the myth or debunk it, the reality is while those assessments focus on describing your personality, the how you tend to think, behave, and interact with others, the Enneagram goes a step deeper. Instead of asking, what do you do? It asks why you do what you do. And it explores the underlying motivations, fears, and defense mechanisms that shape your behavior, revealing the unconscious strategies you've developed in your search for safety, love, acceptance, and even belonging. Okay, myth four: you can be multiple Enneagram types. The myth: I'm a three with an eight wing, or even a mix of a type four and a type seven. The reality: in the Enneagram, you have one core type, not a combination of several. That core type reflects your deepest motivations and remains the foundation of your personality. So you may identify with traits from other types and your wings, the numbers directly next to your core type, which can influence how your personality is expressed. You also move along specific growth and stress paths within the Enneagram, drawing on the qualities from other types at different times. But these are dynamic aspects of your core type, not evidence that you have multiple types or, worse yet, split personalities. And just a reminder, in previous episodes, we have journeyed through core motivations and we've talked about wings, we've talked about triads, and we've talked about so many different elements and aspects of the Enneagram. So I want to encourage you, go back, listen to those episodes, and you'll hear some of the details about these things. Okay, myth five: your Enneagram type determines your personality and behavior. The myth: all type 1s are perfectionists, all type 4s are dramatic artists, and all type 8s are naturally aggressive. The reality: Enneagram, it's about understanding the deeper motivations that drive those behaviors. So, two people with the same Enneagram type can look remarkably different. depending on their instinctual variance, life experiences, their upbringing, and even the level of personal development. And of course, focusing only on outward traits, it misses the point. The Enneagram is designed to explain the underlying strategy behind your behavior, not to reduce people to a simplistic label. Are you with me? Okay, just checking. Myth 6: growth and stress paths mean you become another type. The myth: when your Enneagram type moves to another number under stress or growth, for example, a type 9 taking on the qualities of type 3, it means you've temporarily become that other type. The reality: growth and stress paths don't change your core type. Instead, they describe the patterns your type naturally follows in different circumstances. When under stress, you may adopt less healthy behaviors associated with one type, while growth can bring out the strengths of another. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about expanding your emotional flexibility and becoming more aware of your own unconscious patterns. And in turn, it gives us this lasting it gives us this lasting growth, which comes from understanding your core motivations and responding to them with greater awareness, not from trying to act like a different Enneagram type. Okay, two more to go. Myth 7: I'm a type 3 with a type 9 wing. The myth says that you can have any Enneagram type as your wing. I'm sorry, I have to laugh a little bit about that because it just doesn't make sense. The reality explains this. This is one of the most common misconceptions about the Enneagram. You have one core type, and your wing can only be one of the two numbers directly beside it on the Enneagram symbol. For example, if you're a type 3, your wing can only be type 2 or 4, not a 9. So if you're type 3, there's two numbers on either side of the 3. Those two numbers on either side are your wings. And just to further explain that, wings add nuance and influence your core type, but they don't replace it or come from anywhere else on the diagram. If someone confidently says they're a type 3 with a type 9 wing, they're describing something that doesn't exist in the Enneagram model. It's a bit like saying your favorite season is Tuesday. It sounds specific, but it doesn't fit the system, right? Because, well, do I even need to explain that? It's such a common mistake that if there was $1 for every time someone claimed an impossible wing, there'd probably be enough money to buy a pizza for everyone listening. Now, disclaimer: I'm not advocating that we're going to buy pizza, but a pizza party sounds really good. Okay, here's the last one. Myth 8: some Enneagram types are better than others, or certain types are never compatible. The myth: some Enneagram types are inherently better, more successful, and more desirable than others, or certain types are simply incompatible in relationships. The reality: every Enneagram type has its own unique strengths, blind spots, and opportunity for growth. No type is inherently better or worse than another. Naturally, you'll probably connect more easily with some personalities than others based on your own preferences, values, and life experiences. But that's a reflection of human differences, not the Enneagram itself. And the same is true for compatibility, which we have talked about in previous episodes not too long ago, where we talked about the probability of who might be a good match. Remember when we were matchmaking? So while researchers and practitioners have observed patterns in friendships and business partnerships and even romantic relationships, these are tendencies, not rules. Some type pairings may be more common than others, but there is no combination that's guaranteed to success or destined to fail because healthy relationships depend far more on self awareness, emotional maturity, communication, and mutual respect than an Enneagram type alone. The Enneagram, it doesn't predict who you'll love or who you'll get along with. It simply offers a framework for understanding why people think, feel, and relate the way they do. And that understanding, it can strengthen any relationship regardless of your type. So, those are some of the myths floating out there. And so, I wanted to bring some clarity to that. And I'd like to wrap it up in a nice, pretty bow, if you will. The goal of the Enneagram isn't to put you in a box, it's to reveal the box you're already living in. That box is built from your automatic habits, unconscious patterns, ego defenses, and repetitive ways of thinking. So once you can see those patterns clearly, you have the freedom to move beyond them and respond to life with a greater awareness instead of simply reacting on autopilot. An Enneagram test can be a great place to start, but it only scratches the surface. The framework becomes far more insightful and meaningful when you begin exploring the deeper layers that shape your motivations, patterns, and personal growth. This is why you often hear me encourage you to set up a coaching session or sessions with yours truly. See, growth can come with repetition, for it is impossible to hear something too much when you are learning the ins and outs of something new. To go further into that, I want to give a little bit more about some of the other aspects of the Enneagram. We have talked about these things, as I've said in previous episodes, so feel free to go back and listen. In fact, you should. Not telling you what to do, but it might help. Really, no pressure. No pressure at all. The Enneagram has more depth than just the 9 numbers. There is the stress and growth paths. The Enneagram isn't just about identifying your core type, the lines connecting the types reveal how your personality patterns shift when you're under pressure and when you're growing. In stressful moments, you may lean to the less healthy patterns connected to another type. With awareness and growth, you can begin to access the strengths and resources associated with that same path. Wings shape how your type shows up. Your core type doesn't exist in isolation. The 2 numbers directly beside it on the Enneagram, again, are called the wings, and they add another layer of personality and expression. I like to call it your salt and pepper. For example, 2 people can both be type 3s, but look very different. One may have a stronger type 2 influence, while another may express more type 4 qualities. Okay, so the next part is the three centers of intelligence. And I just want to add that this is not necessarily in order of how you would learn about it or be taught, but this is the order that I think helps with some basic understanding. The three centers of intelligence. The 9 Enneagram types are also grouped into three centers that reflect different ways we experience and respond to the world. So there's the gut center, and types 8, 9, and 1 fit into that. It's where these types in the gut center focus on instinct, action, and the body. The heart center, types 2, 3, and 4, which is connected to emotion, identity, and relationships. And finally, the head center, types 5, 6, and 7, centers around thinking, planning, and managing uncertainty. Another aspect which adds another layer. So beyond your core type and wing, the Enneagram also explores instinctual variants known as self preservation, social, and one to one. These describe where your attention naturally goes, whether toward security and resources, community and connection, or depth and intensity in relationships. Perhaps one of the most important ideas in the Enneagram is that your type alone doesn't tell the whole story. Every type can be expressed in healthy, average, or unhealthy ways. So, for example, a type 8 who has grown in self awareness can be strong, compassionate leader who uses their strength to protect, encourage, and empower others. But when a type 8 is less aware of their patterns, that same strength can come across as reactive, controlling, or overly forceful. Their Enneagram type hasn't changed. What's changed is their level of self awareness. And that makes all the difference. At its heart, the Enneagram isn't about figuring everyone else out, it's about getting to know yourself. So while it's tempting to start typing your friends, partner, or even your coworker, that's not where the real value is. The Enneagram is most powerful when you turn the focus inward, just like we've been talking about awareness. As you begin to recognize your automatic patterns, unconscious reactions, and familiar habits, you start to see what's been driving your thoughts and behaviors all along. That awareness helps you move beyond living on autopilot, giving you the freedom to respond more intentionally and make healthier, more life giving choices each day. My hope today is that you walk away with a better understanding of the Enneagram, that we squashed some of those myths, helping to answer some of the basic questions. And of course, further still, that you're going to go to the show notes, click on the assessment link, and see what your results reveal for you. Then you're going to click on the 30-minute free meet and greet with me, of course, followed by booking those coaching sessions where you will get a chance to have a wraparound coaching, bringing you all of the ins and outs of your discovered Enneagram type. Lila Akita, author of Think Great, said, "Education is the key for self liberation." But wait, there's more. The coaching will give you language to the why you do what you do, and of course, shape the way we think, feel, and behave. I love getting to see those aha moments during coaching. So, what are you waiting for? Go check out the booking link DM me on Instagram or send me an email. Don't go anywhere just yet. I have to share with you the fun stuff. This podcast is not a substitute for medical care. The materials, movies, videos, or books referred to in this podcast are recommendations only. The views expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the podcast host. That's me or sponsors. Join me each week as we dive into all things Enneagram, self-care ideas, self-love patterns, and rhythms. Share ideas from other reputable authors, doctors, and my favorite podcasters. With that, we're counting on you to help spread the word to others to come check out Core Motivations podcast. So if you would, take a moment, give us a follow, leave a review wherever you listen, as it really does help others to find us. Oh, hey, and why not? Share this episode with someone. You wondering where you can find me? Well, go on Instagram. You'll find me, Michelle, at Core Motivations _coach. You can also connect with me through email, Michelle at coremotivationscoach.com. So let me leave you with this. Until next time, and as always, I'm rooting for you.